qui nello spazio di maker, designer, maker, artisti per creare dei progetti in modo collaborativo, fare presentazioni, connettersi con il territorio, fare scambi e in particolare ci interessa entrare in contatto con progetti che lavorano sul wearable, quindi diciamo we make, ci interessa molto quello che è l'ambito smart fashion, textile, sperimentazioni in questa direzione. E Afroditi è ormai da qualche anno diciamo, una delle mie preferite artiste che si occupa di diciamo, sperimentazione di progetti che coinvolgono diciamo, tecniche tradizionali più tutto quello che è tecnologia indossabile, smart, dall'Arduino a sensori e attuatori. Oggi il programma lei rimarrà fino al 4 di marzo, quando è parte. Abbiamo programmato quindi delle attività di lavoro che si faranno settimana prossima, quindi parlerà anche del progetto che creeremo insieme qui a Unenti, riguardo le nostre macchine, e ci sarà una serata il venerdì 27 a Macao insieme a Hotlab. Saranno una performance sonora dalle 11 di sera, ci sarà una parte di live, poi musica dance, una serata così di sperimentazione ma di musica danzabile e ballabile. E poi faremo un workshop il sabato prossimo, utilizzando, diciamo, creeremo degli speaker indossabili, quindi anche lì si lavora con filo di rame e altre magneti e altre cose per realizzare degli speaker che possono essere indossati. E in più, martedì 3 marzo presenteremo il progetto finale su cui abbiamo lavorato in questi giorni. Adesso lascio la parola a Afroditi che parlerà in inglese, lei vive da Atene, abita ad Atene e ci racconterà un po' il suo lavoro e poi quello che fai la prossima. Grazie mille.
Hello everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Zoe for inviting me to come to Milan and experience this amazing space that they have created. And passwords. So I'm a media artist and I'm based in Athens, Greece. My background is in fine arts, so I studied painting and then I went to Madrid to do my master and my PhD there on image technology and design. So my work involves electronic textiles and DIY electronics, which is the kind of electronics that you create by yourself or with the help of others, always in an open source context. And here you can see some images from my lab. I usually work with textiles, and I really like to mix traditional handicrafts with science fiction ideas, and I experiment mostly with sound. And this experimentation with sound started 4 years ago when I first put my hands on the LilyPad Arduino microcontroller, and at the time I was doing my master in Madrid, and I was studying a bit of programming. I don't know if you're familiar with processing, that is an open source software to create computer graphics. So, but my background was in painting, so at the same time when I was studying programming, I was missing this to do something with my own hands. So the idea of programming was interesting for me, but I couldn't imagine my work being only in the computer, like in a virtual way. So when I bought my first LilyPad Arduino, I didn't know exactly what to do with it. So I went online at the Instructables website and saw I read a lot of tutorials on how to use the Arduino, and I was lucky because in Madrid there is one of the first media labs that were created in Europe, Media Lab Prado in Madrid, that was organizing a lot of workshops and seminars on how to use open source technology. So I was going there all the time, trying to get in touch with other people that wanted to experiment with textiles. And I found an Italian girl, actually, that her name was Francesca Mereu. And we started a small group for experimenting with textiles that was called Smart Craft Lab. So our first experimentations were on how to use a conductive thread as a textile sensor, and the output was, at first we've used LEDs, so the output was light, but then we wanted to experiment with sound, so the output was sound, and this made me more interested in the sonic part of electronics. So although I didn't have any background in sound, I started creating a series of embroidered synthesizers, how I call them, which are these that you can actually see here on the table afterwards. Like, you can touch them and play with them if you want. And these are the ones that I'm going to present next week with Autolab at the performance at Macau. And the idea behind this project was to take, to get inspired by really famous pop instruments like the TR-909 drum machine from Roland or the microchord synthesizer from Korg, and kind of making an embroidered version of them, but not the original instrument, but in a way kind of customizing it to fit my needs. So in the beginning, this project began as just a design project with experimentation, but after I made 3 or 4 of them, I started seeing all the potential of actually performing with these. So I started doing a series of sound performances, and this series, I called it Electronica, from the mix of the Lillipad microcontroller and the electronica part of the sound. And actually, it made me want to get involved in the field of sound, and so I started doing sound synthesis courses in Athens at the Center for Experimentation with Contemporary Music that was founded by Yannis Xenakis in the 70s. And for the last 4 years, I have been performing with what I make. So as a maker, things for the joy that gives me to create something with my own hands, but also because it serves me as a way to express myself. So after the embroidery projects, I started to experiment with making wearables. You've all heard the word wearable technology that refers to garments that incorporate electronic parts and create these smart textiles in interactive fashion, as I said. So here you can see 3 wearables that I have created. You can actually see 2 of them here. So the first one on the right, this one, is called the Idoru.
Pardon?
Idoru.
Idoru. Okay.
Idoru. And it's inspired by a novel written by William Gibson in the 90s. And Idoru in Japanese means ghost. And the idea of the novel is that there is a virtual pop star that exists only in the web, and she reveals herself through her performances. So I wanted to kind of take this idea of a virtual entity and transform it in a physical way. So I created this dress that incorporates a really Arduino microcontroller here, and also an XB shield, which is a shield that takes a wireless antenna, so it communicates wirelessly to the computer, and then it incorporates two accelerometers in the sleeves. And I usually present this performance with a dancer, and it's an improvisation between the dancer and her own movement, because her movement creates the sound, and then the sound gives feedback to her so she can move again. So it's like a feedback loop between the wearable and the performer. This piece here, the one on the right, down under, is called Divergence. And I created this piece last year during a residency that I did in Linz, Austria. And it's actually a wearable electromagnetic field detector. So it's a dress that incorporates two handmade coils in the sleeves that serve as antennas to sense electromagnetic fields. As you all know, everything around us emits electromagnetic waves. So I wanted to create a wearable that could make you immerse yourself in the invisible environment that surrounds us. So the wearable has an Arduino compatible microcontroller. It's actually a Flora. It's made from another company called Adafruit. And it incorporates two small vibration motors in the chest. And it detects the electromagnetic fields by bringing your hand close to a plug or your computer or your mobile, even your body, because our own bodies are charged with electromagnetic fields. And it gives feedback to the user that wears it through vibration on the chest. So it's a kind of, the closer you get to a source, the bigger the vibration. And it also has a sonic feedback. So you can plug in your headphones and listen to a changing tone, in the same way as the vibration motor. When you go closer, you can hear the tone getting louder. And actually, the zipper is also volume control and a low pass filter. So it cuts the high frequencies. And this is also an open source project. I have uploaded all the information on GitHub so that everyone that is interested can create his own version of the dress. And also I use it as part of a sound performance. So it has a double functionality in a way. You can wear it and go around in the city and explore the electromagnetic fields of the city, but also it's a way of expressing myself sonically, if you want. And the third wearable that you see in the image, it's a project called Soft Articulations that I am developing with the Fablab in Barcelona. And it's a wearable bodysuit that has handmade flex sensors. I don't know if you all understand the flex sensors in the articulations of the body, and it translates the movement of the articulations into sound as well. So it's used as well for a sound performance, but this time with a dancer. So apart from the projects that I'm developing by myself, I really like to work with other people because I feel that collaboration will achieve great results. And and other people can help you in something that you don't know, and this way you can create more interesting work in a way. So here there are three projects that I created with other people. The one here on the left, it's a project called Haptic City that I did with an architect from Athens called Artemis Papageorgiou. And it's a workshop-based project. So we did a series of workshops in Athens with people that had no idea about electronics or programming. And we asked them to create an embroidered map of Athens and to enhance the map with light and sound. And the actual result was a huge piece of embroidered textile that kind of like an interactive installation that the public could explore different pieces of the map with some sonic documents, or people were going with field recorders recording spots, different spots in Athens. So it's kind of a way to experience the city in through tradition and experimentation in a way. The project on the right, on the top, it's called Economic Threads, and it's a project that I developed with another two artists from Athens, Maria Varela and Marinos Koutsoumichalis. And it was a project commissioned by the Museum of Contemporary Art in Athens, and it involves the creation of an algorithmic textile that represents the unemployment data in Greece. So we decided to work with a knitting machine, and we hacked it to connect it to a computer. And then we wrote an algorithm, the unemployment data, the economic data, financial data from 2008 until 2013, when the project was produced. And it analyzes this data and symbolizes them with Greek folk art motifs. So the result is kind of generative knitted textile, like the one that I have here. You can see it afterwards. That mixes tradition and politics, if you want, in a handmade piece. And the idea was to create a kind of physical archive of the unemployment and all the crises that has happened in Greece. The last photograph is not very good actually, but it represents a project that I also have there in the corner called the Space Jacket that I did in Austria last September at another collective workshop with Kubagant, who are a duo of artists also working with e-textiles. And the idea of the workshop was e-textiles live, so to create pieces that use electronics and technology, but in a performance concept. And so I collaborated with a sound artist, and we created the Space Jacket that I will show you afterwards. That is a wearable synthesizer, if you want, that kind of represents the history of the universe through embroidery again. So during my time here, I'm collaborating with Daphne Papadopoulou, that is sitting there at the back, a Greek architect, and we are going to develop the culture dress. Here is our idea, which is a wearable that will use parametric design to create 3D structured sleeves from leather, and we will use pulse sensor to capture the heartbeat and translate the heartbeat into movement on the sleeves. So the idea is to create a sentient dress, something that is alive and that kind of visualizes our heartbeat, but in a romantic, if you want, context. And here in the other images, you can see our experimentation before coming here, the first steps, which was to laser cut the leather in small pieces and then assemble them all together. And I can actually show you a video of that. Can I... So you can get an idea how this works. So this is the, oh, it's very dark, but you can see it. So this is the 3D sleeve, and you have incorporated underneath this is a actuator that has memory. So you can give this wire a shape and then heat it up at a certain temperature, and it holds this shape to its memory, and then every time you heat it, it takes this shape. So we created this wire and we gave it the shape as a spring. So when it heats up, the spring goes like this kind of movement. And when it cools down, it returns to its original shape.
It's great.
Yes.
It's great.
So yeah, I would like to finish with this section that I call workshops. That is that since I started doing this thing with electronics and textiles, in the beginning I was feeling quite alone in this journey, because even though there was quite a community online, where I was living at the time in Madrid, I didn't have people around me that were interested in this kind of field. So when I started, I wanted to share this knowledge and I wanted to get more people involved in this. So I started doing a series of workshops. And through these workshops, I just want to share my passion and make more people involved in this field, because I think that it's actually something, apart from something very interesting, it's something that it's just starting to flourish, and it's a field that needs to be explored in the maximum in the future. So thank you very much, and if you want to ask any questions. So here you see some of the embroidered synthesizers. This is a granular synthesizer. particularly around if you just move the nose, you know. Here you have a kind of, it's kind of a very simple sequence here. So you have two stored melodies in each button. So if you press the button, with the note, if you press, you can control the velocity.
I didn't choose the tone sound.
How?
No, yes, how.
Just so.
The tone of each touch.
I mean, of course, the lyric of the is not designed to make sound. So it's actually this is the sound that it produces, if you want.
Yeah.
Then the melodies that I use for this one are just melodies that I like. I mean, each person that can replicate it with his own melody, so it's not necessary to use these ones.
So it doesn't depend on the colors or the style, so it's good.
And this one was the first one that I made, and it was. So this one uses a light sensor to change the pitch of the tone.
And then you can make the music acting for its pattern during a performance, maybe it's dance or something like that.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
And this is a white noise generator. So it's here. Just the sound of static. And then you this is a low-pass filter that I have created for the synthesizers. So it has local high pitches. This is a small capacity sensing synthesizer, so activates by touch. And here I'm using the 8985 chip. This is another small synthesizer that has incorporated the textile here. If you come to the workshop next week, it's very hard to make it. And this is the knitted textile that I was talking before about the visualization of the financial data from Greece. And I would like to show you this as well, which is the space jacket. But just give me 2 seconds because I need to know the code, and then we can actually, if you want, you can wear it and try it out. And this is normally wireless, but I'm having some problems with the wireless antenna for now, so if he wants to. Give me 1 second. I need to grab the code. You can class the values to these 4 parts. It actually is kind of a button. So if you touch it, it activates. The longer you touch it, the longer the sound will be heard, and then the longer because there are some filters there, the longer the range of the filter is going to be. Can you stop touching it? You should stop.
Where are you going? Which is yours?
I would choose this guy, but I think that this guy Yes, I'm actually now I'm working on an idea to create a wearable cosmic ray detector.
So you're featuring the watch.
Yes, actually, normally it has a wireless antenna, but this is not the electromagnetic. It's very important. Yes, it's actually very cool. So it's not really good. Yeah.
Zoe, i prossimi appuntamenti. Ricordali.
Vi ricordo, prossimi appuntamenti. La prossima lavoriamo qua, quindi i membri del Makerspace possono venire vedere come lavora. Il 17 facciamo la performance a Macao dalle 11 di sera tra lei e di più, Fablab, quindi live, per affrontate. E il 28 workshop di speakers freestyle, se volete partecipare le iscrizioni sono aperte, e poi il martedì 3 marzo, il giorno prima che lei parta, il vestito sarà finito e faremo la presentazione, ci fai qualche vestito, faremo una mini presentazione del risultato finale del lavoro.
It does last. Depending on the battery goal.